Hi, this is Anais, and welcome to day 2 of the Deja Vu Dating 5-day challenge. Yesterday, we just covered some of the basics about what can happen when you're caught up in a cycle of deja vu dating and you're not quite sure what's going on, or you're not quite sure what you should do to change how things are going. I have had a lot of clients and a lot of people who have struggled with this challenge. And one of the things that I'll share with you is that it's very unique and personal to each person. There are people who have struggled with this for years. I know of one person who popped in here yesterday who not only has she struggled with deja vu dating and then getting caught up in a dark flower dynamic, she's let me know that her daughter, her granddaughter, and now her great-granddaughter, a baby, are somehow drawn into a net of very difficult dynamics in a small community town where you would be surprised how deep this can go and how destructive it can be. Having been there myself, I have to say that it's very stressful to find yourself in this situation, because as you're ending a situation and realizing that it isn't going to work for you, and you take a few weeks or a few months off, and then you are introduced to someone new, perhaps through someone that you know, or you may meet someone online. I absolutely don't do that anymore, but you may decide that that's something you want to do, and then you end up with that same eerie feeling that something is off with the person that you're spending time with, and you can't quite put your finger on what it is, but there's a subtle dynamic. And while there's a great deal of attraction, and usually occasionally you have one or two really interests that you both really are interested in, or at least say that you're interested in, there's a dynamic that somehow you feel like you're getting hooked or snookered, or it's not long. It could be by the third encounter with this person that they've started to treat you in a very odd way. And I once had this situation develop with someone that I met on Facebook, which I really don't recommend that you spend a lot of time with this, but I had seen him in an online course and we got to communicating, and then he suggested that he didn't live all that far away and he'd like to come for a couple of days just to check things out. Now, this was a person who had seen me, he knew me, he'd been in a course with me, and we had talked on the phone several times, and he had stated what his intentions were, which seemed, well, okay, let's find out. And then he got here and was, within 2 days, really rejecting without expressing his feelings or saying what he was experiencing or what was going on. I'm a very forthright person. I'm very direct. And so this was a bit of a challenge. And I remember we were not being intimate. We were not sleeping together. And I went into the guest space and I said, well, what's happening for you this morning? Because I'm feeling a shift in the energy and I would really like to just talk about it if you're open to it. And there's a kind of reluctance to communicate honestly and truthfully and forthrightly that is just unnerving if you're used to communicating truthfully, forthrightly, directly, and you're feeling these sort of odd subcurrents with another person who is not going to share in that way with you. And then the other thing that I have noticed about this dynamic is I think it's classic for people who are A, empaths, and B, chronic overgivers, because this has been my experience as an empath. I feel everything that everybody feels, and I have to maintain very strong energetic boundaries, or I can end up in chewing gum over stuff that doesn't have anything to do with me, but it's in the room. So one of the things I would say to you, if you're an empath, and we have some of those people who are in the challenge, just be aware about what it means to be an empath. That means that you're picking up feelings and sensations from anybody who's in your environment. This can happen to you long distance if they're thinking about you hard enough or strongly enough or remote, and you can pick this energy up across the telephone. You have to know this is an empath. And then what happens is, when that happens, you're immediately shifted into being aware that you're now feeling somebody else's feelings. And if they're uncomfortable, your inclination as an empath is to take care of their feelings, because that's what we do. Try to make them feel better, try to help them feel comfortable. And so the really interesting challenge in this dynamic is really learning how to take care of yourself, being aware of your feelings, and taking care of you, and setting strong boundaries so that if someone has something that they're feeling that they need to communicate, let them take the risk of communicating it directly, and let them have the risk of being in the moment with you as you respond from wherever you respond. This is a really key, important piece of what we're going to be looking at today.